It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Agronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 561. Tonight I'm joined by Ace.
Hello.
Ammo.
Hello.
Kodra.
Hi.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hey there.
Okay, this is iterate, isn't it? I was trying to make it into something. And
iterate, yes.
What is iterate?
So, Steam is having a tower defense fest right now, and iterate is part of that. That looked somewhat interesting to me, and I started messing around with it and have been really enjoying it. Way more than I expected to. It's in this subgenre of tower defense where you sort of split your time between mining and then building up your towers and defending. But it has this extra little layer of puzzle in addition to the mining, which I don't know, it adds a little extra something of a distraction, so it's not just constantly flipping back and forth between mining, defending, mining, defending. It's, mining, and then occasionally you and the conceit of this is that you're working your way up a tower, mining along the side of it, essentially. But every once in a while, you find a portal, little door to a balcony, and then you get out of your little mining ship, and then it's a little sort of puzzle area. There's still some mining to do, but instead of your ship, you're a little person. You hop around and solve a little puzzle, and that lets you progress up the tower. And something about that extra piece of the gameplay loop makes it way more satisfying. And, like a lot of games I'm playing lately, I guess it's doing the hey, capitalism is killing you thing. um, so it's sort of telling a little bit of ambient story. Every once in a while, you see a little message written by a previous person, previous miner. And when you go back and get to that same place, as you die, and in roguelite fashion, you die, you get some power-ups, you go back, and the same station with a message now gets responses from each of the iterations of the little miner that's going up the side. So it's just lots of little bits of flavor and a little bit of extra gameplay that made it pretty fun. Yeah, I sunk a few hours into it. Cleared the tower on the easiest setting, unlocked a bunch of different options, character options to try, and I've just been kind of poking my way through it. But
So what exactly type of puzzle are we talking?
Basically, it's like a light laser path puzzle, so it's extremely simple. It's nothing complicated, but it's just a little something extra to do outside of the regular gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, you go out, you find some lasers and mirrors, and you line them up so that it hits the giant crystal and lights it up.
Well, that sounds fun.
I've really been enjoying it. And the art style is kind of neat. I like the little monsters that come attack you. They're sort of feels part biological, part mechanical. It's pretty fun.
What is the August before?
So I talked last week. I don't remember if it was right after the show. That a friend sent me some games, and I played one of them. The August before is like the opposite of unpacking. I think I've talked about unpacking here before. I really, really loved that game.
Yeah, unpacking was great.
The August before is it is somewhere in between Gone Home and Unpacking. Unpacking is it's got like the static thing, whereas this is like actually fully first person. You move through a space, but the the premise is you're packing up before you leave. You're about to leave a place. You're moving out, and you're packing up and kind of taking stock of your life and things that have happened in it. And it's in the or it starts at least in the from the perspective of a teenage girl who's going to college and is packing up her things to go to college. And so like there's just a bunch of stuff that you're doing, cleaning up and just part of it is clean up your room and part of it is find the things that you need to pack before you leave. And in the process of doing so, you're also just kind of filtering through this like very messy room into something, something that you've got packed and you've cleaned everything up. But in the process, you kind of uncover all of the sort of like you learn who her friends are, and also that there were some disagreements with her friends like recently, right before she's about to leave, and it spends it it's all in the service of like putting things away and throwing stuff out, but it does some really really cool stuff with that bit of just that those simple interactions. There's one that I'm not going to spoil because it comes later. But one of the ones one of the ones that I find really interesting is you've got a checklist that you can just bring up at any time, like what's this called? Untitled Goose Game
Like
style.
Goose Game.
Yeah, and it's very much like it very much has this vibe of being handwritten by the person who you're controlling here, and some of the things that you're supposed to pack are kind of vague, and different items fulfill that. Different items fulfill that, and then also the very first thing it asks you to do is put on some music, and like they're mixtapes, and they're mixtapes very clearly put together by these friends for other people or for each other, and so you could listen to the mixtapes as you're cleaning up. Yeah, it's a relatively short game. I've played it 114 minutes, and I basically 100% completed it. I missed a couple of little things, but like by which I mean I missed like one piece of crumpled up paper to throw away, kind of thing. There's like interesting little puzzles. There's a lot of optional stuff, but as you uncover more, you get this like broader story of everything going on, and like it probably would have hit me harder if I were a little closer to the subject matter. Like it it's not really a spoiler because you notice it almost immediately that like this girl is going to college. One of her other friends is not. This is a source of some strife. And like
Uh-huh.
I didn't really have that, but I know people who did.
I had that experience to some extent, but not fully because like I went to community college for the first 2 years, so I was still living at home, and it was noticeable the town emptying out of people. Like
Yeah.
that experience was a thing. But like I was also going to college. I just wasn't going to college in the traditional sense of I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah. And like I don't know, it's definitely the kind of thing that I can see somebody this game could be somebody's night in the woods.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, it kind of is sounding like, at least gameplay wise, probably more like Gone Home.
It is a little bit more Gone Home gameplay wise, and it has some very very similar themes. Like I'm pretty sure it says in the description. Never mind. It doesn't say what I'm thinking in its description, so I won't spoil it. But anyway, it's good. It's quite good. I really enjoyed it. It definitely has some overlap with games like Gone Home or Unpacking or Night in the Woods. Sun is Null. It's not anywhere near as long as Night in the Woods, but there's a lot of that, there's some amount of trauma as you leave home for college, and that can take a variety of forms. And this is definitely interrogating that to some extent.
So I know I said in the show notes last week that we would very likely talk about Pokopia again, and it sounds like folks have been playing.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's so good and so cute and wonderful that most of the time you're not thinking about how kind of bittersweet it is underlying.
I am so unprepared for Pokemon games to have something to say.
This is a game about forming a cargo cult.
I feel like a lot of the mainline games might be that way, but the side games are where the people want to tell a story with Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I have never had a Pokemon side game that I've been like, oh yeah, I really want to play that, because I don't the mystery dungeon games are very wizardry, and I never actually liked wizardry all that much.
I mean, they're more NetHack.
They're not really like wizardry at all, except that they involve taking turns.
It's just a style that I've tried playing at least 2 of them, and
This is fair.
It's
They're
just not a
definitely an
style
acquired taste.
Yeah, it's just not a style that
Yeah.
I like. So I haven't really seen the Pokemon side games that are doing these having these interesting takes.
Yeah, apparently all the games that get philosophical are the ones where you play Pokemon.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
entirely true, because the Pokemon Ranger games exist.
I guess so, yeah.
The first
guess I
one,
didn't-
not so much, but the 2 after that, very much so.
I guess I did play a bunch of Pokemon Snap, but also I don't feel like Pokemon Snap had a lot of philosophy.
Not that I noticed, no.
Yeah, this one is
This is a game about being one of the last 2 Pokemon apparently in the world after some major environmental collapse appears to have happened, and you're trying to figure out how to bring the humans back. And maybe if you build enough things and you put enough things back that the humans used and liked, maybe they'll come back.
What a charming, simplistic view of the world.
and I'm playing this with my kid, and she's like, Daddy, we have to go find the humans. Let's go over there and see if we can find the humans. And so we're wandering around trying to find, doing the stuff that comes up. But that's very much her driving goal. And I'm like, I feel like this game can't actually ever do that though.
Yeah.
And
You're not sure how to prepare for that disappointment?
Yeah, is this the game that breaks my child's heart?
Possibly.
I mean, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is the game that made Eli and I cry for 15 minutes.
Yeah, this could be a thing. It's the experience for me is it's like watching a performer with my kid, but the performer is not breaking eye contact with me the entire time. That's how this game feels to me.
And like I said, most of the time, it's not hitting you in the face with, sad. It's a very cheerful, pleasant game most of the time. There's just that undercurrent when you stop and think about it. Because mostly what you're doing is you're running around and you're figuring out what sort of environments different Pokemon would like and recreating them to attract those Pokemon. And then the Pokemon have different abilities that they can either teach you or that you can use to create new things to be able to build with and stuff. And you're building these things that the humans had and liked, but they're helpful to Pokemon too. Once you repair a Poke Center, you can use the Pokemon healing device in there. You can only use it once per day because you don't have the ability to
There's no
fully
Nurse Joys.
sign up for it.
There's no Nurse Joys. Where are the Nurse Joys?
Yeah. But
So is this why Ditto is pretending to be human?
Oh my
Ditto?
god.
Yes.
Yes.
Ditto is pretending to be their old trainer who they miss dearly.
Ditto misses their old trainer.
Yes.
Like, that's the setup, is, oh, you're pretending to be the human that you miss.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that's coming up as I am watching through Pokemon Horizons, which I also highly recommend. They are doing a lot of work to make, like, a lot of the old games, it felt like there was a, like, you are the trainer, this is your Pokemon, they follow your orders. Like, there is a hierarchy of dominance going on, and it does feel like we're going with no. Pokemon want to be paired with certain humans.
Yeah, that this is truly a partnership.
This is a partnership. We don't need this to be some messed up thing. Like, every Pokemon that has been caught in the show thus far has basically asked the trainer to catch them. Also, the show is also dealing with a lot of weird, morose things as well.
Like,
And,
I
like,
wonder.
It's interesting because the only reason the game isn't all sad for me is because I'm bringing a lot of baggage to it. For my kid, it's an absolute delight.
Yeah.
It's just all upside.
Yeah, like I do not think that my son has really thought about that port element of it. Like, he's just running around, was like, I can make a house for myself. I can, it's great. I wonder if, like, some of this apparent, desire to delve deeper into ideas and to recast, the partnership thing and everything. Like, we've hit that point that I've seen happen with previous media. I've seen happen with, like, superhero comics. The people making this now, a lot of them grew up playing it, and that changes how the people making it view it. And I'm curious if that's part of what's going on.
So is it more like, it sounds like there's maybe more game here than Animal Crossing? Like, I have not played this yet.
There's a lot more. Yes, there's a lot more, like, solving.
Storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling, and there is a main quest line that you follow along from zone to zone. The world is broken up into different zones. You will recognize these zones.
Oof.
This
yeah,
is
no,
this
that's-
is not this is not a new
It is not a
area.
new area.
Oh, are we in Kanto?
It was brutal.
Yes.
I was like, oh.
This is
what?
Kanto. You will recognize it.
The comparison I've seen the most is Dragon Quest Builders, another
It's-
game that was not like entirely freeform. It had goals and things for the building.
Yeah. It is closer to Dragon Quest Builders. Yes.
I do believe it is the same team.
There you go.
That makes some amount of sense.
But that is definitely what it is closest to that I've played. And unlike Animal Crossing and like Dragon Quest Builders, multiple people can each have their own world. You do not have to share a world.
Oh yeah, like no more one island per Switch. That's it. No, multiple users can have their own saves, and that is fantastic.
It's like, it's by account on the device, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I made a terrible mistake by not starting this game with my child on a child account, and I should have thought about that one sooner. But
Yep. So I can be thoughtful and, like, mostly rebuild what's already there in my world, and then my son can run around his world just yanking everything down to completely build new stuff, and it's fine.
like, I hadn't picked it up until I saw like more people commenting on it on Blue Sky. But I agree with Rami Ismail's take, where he's just like, why the fuck does Pokopia go this hard? What in the world? And I have the same question. Like, what? I don't feel like it needed to, but it sure is.
Yeah, like, I was not expecting this to be a game that told a story, but it does.
Not only was I not expecting it to be a game that told a story, I wasn't expecting it to be a game that told a story that I couldn't immediately see the path and ending of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not entirely certain.
Like, I
where
don't
this is
know
going
where
to
this is
end up.
going.
Yeah. Okay. I'm way more interested in this because, like, I originally thought it was just going to be Animal Crossing with Pokemon, and, like,
I did
I did
too.
Animal Crossing
So did
during
most people.
Mhm.
Yep.
like I did Animal Crossing during lockdown. It was a thing we all did,
yeah.
and I had that phase, and I'm over with it.
Yeah, I don't need to do this again. Like, I legitimately picked it up only because I was reading weird stuff about it on social media and was like, oh, actually, my kid would really like this. Sure. And like 20 minutes into playing with my daughter, I'm like, oh, what is going on? What have I started?
Yeah, they kept a lot of secrets when they were kind of doing the pre-release stuff of this or whatever intentionally, and I can see why. And just as you go around exploring, and exploring is really fun to do in this game too. Just
It is.
all the little notes and bits and pieces you find are just like, oh wow. It's so well done. You just don't know what you're really gonna find next, but how every little bit can like tie into some other thread of the story that you've already seen so far.
I fear every time we go into some like broken down house and there's one of those little tablets, because I'm like, is this gonna destroy me? It might. Just gonna right here as I'm trying to put my kid to bed. It's just gonna come for me.
But to be fair, even with all of that kind of depressing stuff, watching your Pokemon frolic around in the fields and play tag with each other and stuff, okay, that is freaking adorable.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, it's a delight.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
we saw two of them running around, and my kid was like, look, we gotta stop them, they're fighting. Chasing each other. I was like, what? So we did. It was like, oh, they're playing tag. And she was like, oh, okay, I guess that's okay. My kid has a bitter rivalry with Hutu because we didn't fully understand the like how to build your own house, and so she was like, I need a bed and a stand, a table, and we're gonna put a candle on it. And like we did all of those things, and then a bird showed up, and
You created Hoot's environment.
yeah, we like
Yeah.
accidentally created Hoot's environment. And so
That's
this
like
bird shows up, and she's like, that's my bed.
So that happened to my son, but it was with Gulpin. He was real mad at Gulpin.
Yeah.
It's like, get out. He's like dug a hole to put Gulpin in. So
No.
he wouldn't come back. He did eventually create a second Gulpin environment and move it over there, but yeah.
Kids come up with creative solutions.
Yep.
I too am mad at this bird because I was like 5 minutes from getting her to sleep. Because the whole thing that we were working towards was we're putting a bed so our character could go to sleep, so she would go to sleep. And then this bird shows up in like 3 seconds. And she like woke all the way up and was like, what? That bird took my bed. I'm like, no.
That's amazing.
This game is just so wonderful. It's a delight. It definitely looks cute and cuddly and chill on the front, and it is very chill, but then yeah.
It's very chill, and it's very like Dragon Quest Builders / Animal Crossing, like on the surface, and yet I find myself thinking maybe I'll make my own save and do my own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The unexpected feels, they'll get you.
Also, like, I don't know, part of me wants to arrange these environments efficiently, not
Yes.
super haphazardly, because boy howdy, when the like little habitats are super haphazard, like finding the Pokemon you need is so annoying.
That is very true.
And that's why I carry a whole stack of honey at all times. Because I don't know if you're aware, if you go to a Pokemon's home and put some honey on it, like use some honey, it summons the Pokemon.
Yep.
Ooh, that's handy.
And then later, once you have a Pokemon that can use Fly, which I don't know if Hoot can, I haven't got Hoot, they can teleport you to other Pokemon.
Yes.
I've been having to explain various Pokemon to my child. Mixed results, frankly.
I was about to say, that sounds like it would, by definition, have mixed results.
Like, some of them are fine. Like, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, it's fine. I mean, even, like, Scyther. She's like, it's a big bug with cut arms. Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
But she's convinced that Drifloon has a Band-Aid on its face.
Yep.
It looks like it has a Band-Aid on its
Looks like it
face.
does.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
can see
I've thought
that.
this all these years.
And it is not quite, it does not quite have the primacy of finding the humans, but we need to find some cream for Drifloon so it's how he can be better. And I hope that thing evolves.
It does, but it
Good.
still has a
Well,
Band-Aid.
I don't know if Pokemon evolve in Pokemon.
I have no idea.
Oh.
If
I
Pokemon
think
evolves.
I'm pretty sure you just
You find
later find the evolved
Yeah.
versions, because I have both Combee and Vespiquen, for instance.
Yeah. And also you will get Pokemon, they all have their various abilities and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say too much because I think I'm further than most everybody here, but some of the skills and things that they can do later on is very interesting.
There's, I mean, we played like three different sessions before we could jump, and was like, oh, you can jump, okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's real nice once you.
It's just like,
Yeah.
huh, that's new and weird.
It's like, oh, that Pokemon did actually have something useful to teach me. That's
Also,
new.
yes.
I'm guessing you have not explained to your child that Drifloon is the like ghost of a departed child.
She understands that it's a ghost balloon, and I would have had more questions, but
This is fine.
it really is. It really is a delight in a very surprising way.
I'm going to definitely have to check this out.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's chill, it's cozy, and it has the unexpected feels. But and again, just like seeing your Pokemon going about their business and interacting with each other is just it's so charming.
Well, it's chill and it keeps me from getting bored. Like
Oh,
my
yeah.
problem, the thing that I ran into with Animal Crossing was that I got bored. I was like, I'm not like this. It's not like the kind of, there weren't enough goals for me to pursue.
Yeah.
Right.
Animal Crossing also pretty severely time gates your progression.
It does.
Yes.
Also that, yeah.
Yeah. This has a little bit of time gating because like things that you want to build that you need Pokemon to help you build, it does take them some time, but so
Sure,
far
but not
it's
one
been
real
pretty
world
mild.
day.
No. I mean, it does take
Yeah.
it does take most of a day to rebuild a Poke Center, for instance.
Right. Yeah, that's like it always tells you it'll be done tomorrow.
Yeah. Like there's some things like that, but
Okay.
and it takes like when you're having Pokemon refine materials for you, like it does take them some time to do it. But so far
Yeah,
it's nothing
but
nothing
it
severe.
lacks the kind of hard time gating of
Yeah.
Yes.
Of Animal Crossing, where it's like, also you can't do anything while you're waiting.
Yeah, I've never at any point had that, well, there's nothing else I can do today feeling.
Yeah.
No, there are
Well-
so many things I can be doing.
That was the
if you-
problem that I had with Animal Crossing in general is it starts out that there's not enough to do, but then you eventually get to a point where I don't have enough time in the day to do all these things.
Yeah, and unless you really like designing, then like endgame Animal Crossing is not something that you might be into.
Yeah.
And if you do need a Pokemon skill and they're building something, you can still walk up to them and say, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And they'll do it for you even while they're quote unquote building a project kind of thing.
So this next topic is way more spicy than it actually is.
What?
Ace and I were having a conversation about Path of Exile and the Last Epoch seasons coming up, and I broke out my statement that I've made several times on the podcast that like I love Last Epoch, but there's just not enough going on yet. And we actually dug that statement like and dissected it to understand like what I mean by that. And so the first ARPG that I got into in the seasonal model was Diablo 3. And it was like destination gaming. And so much of that experience rotated around the season journey, which was a checklist of things that you had to accomplish in order to get the MTX for that season. And in my mind, consider the season done. And like a lot of games have this, some of it's a battle pass, some of it's other things. And for me, when I really got into Path of Exile was during Sanctum, and that was the first league that I attempted to specifically do things for the sake of knocking out challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And now getting challenges is a large part of my seasonal journey in Path of Exile.
Yep.
And right now, Last Epoch is missing anything like that. Like technically there's the Harbingers, but that's just getting to the end game. There's not really any kind of a season's journey in Last Epoch yet.
Yeah, you've got factions that you're getting XP with, but that's not really the same.
You can make
And
several bars go up.
yes, and doing the harbingers is sort of a piece of that, but it's not, a varied checklist of things to do to see lots of bits and pieces of the game during a season.
Yeah. And like the seasonal challenges in Path of Exile are a lot of the reason why I went out and learned how to do different mechanics so that I could knock out things there. So like, last league, I learned the ins and outs of creating Alva temples and then figured out that I can do them pretty well and sell them. But I didn't really like that mechanic and I wouldn't have really dug into it other than the fact that like I needed it for like it was one of the easier to do things to knock out a challenge. And I think that's
Go ahead.
I was like, I think that's part of the reason why I keep bouncing off of Last Epoch after I finish beating Aberoth, is because right now the Harbinger Road thing feels like the only thing that I have as a season's journey. And when I get to Aberoth, I'm done.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would say the other thing is like there is a cool reward of something that lets you know, hey, I managed to get this, and like you can't take this one away from me. Like from now on, I will always have Beastmaster armor. And I will always have Beastmaster armor with a nice shiny glow to it because I got 35 challenges that league. And that's the most I've ever done. And boy, I don't know if I'll ever do that again. But
yeah, for me, like I want to get the same size totem pole that I've had for the last several leagues. And it's a stupid goal that I have, but like that is at 34 challenges. I want to do at least 34 challenges.
And that means those are getting down to some of the harder challenges.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, I think the harder challenges are interesting because they ask you to like get creative with the game's mechanics and figure out how to pull off the nonsense they're asking you to
do. Right. Like cross contamination is one that exists. It exists every time, but it is do this league mechanic while this other league mechanic is happening at the same time. And like you have to figure out how to trigger that, like how to make that actually happen.
Without and the real goal is to not just try and be looking into it. You need to be like this is a game with so many roles that if you're just trying to naturally get something to happen, that's probably never going to happen statistically. But if it also has a bunch of things that let you manipulate your luck. And so you get to look into all of your different luck manipulation things and just try and figure out, okay, how do I make this happen?
And every time I do one of those, I permanently learn something about the game and its underlying system that I'll then use later, like, because now I know how to do this thing.
The game asks you to do new challenges that when you start them seem impossible, and then slowly you like do the research and figure it out and you come up with a solution and it feels really good. And it's like you're kind of like right there. I'm right there with you. The one thing I'm missing in Last Epoch is a challenges list.
And like they have a ladder, but I don't care about a competitive ladder. Like I care about doing things, that I'm being asked to do weird things or like interact with systems that I might not normally do. So like make me go into the dungeon and get specific things to happen inside of one of the dungeons that I don't interact with right now. Like give me a reason to.
Yeah, right now you just have to be self-motivated to keep bumping up things in the monolith until you cry. And like if it specifically asked me to do that and gave me, I don't know what shiny armor at the end of it, I think I would be more likely to push.
Right. Like if I had to
gradually, but
yeah, like if I had to get to 500 depth or whatever.
Yeah, it feels like you're just doing that to do it. It's like a treadmill. It's a more obvious treadmill.
Well, especially in a seasonal model where you end up doing it over and over and over.
It's worth noting that the challenges list in Path of Exile, at least, Diablo 3 was a little more rough with theirs.
Wait, what?
Ranges from things you're going to easily get done just like playing a normal character through the game to things most characters are not going to do over the course of a league. Always
Or
the
may
last
never
one
have
is
done.
really stupid.
It's GGG. Grand something grind.
Gear grinding goals usually.
Current one is Gallant Grinding Goals.
Gallant grinding goals. And one of those is reach level 100, which is hilarious.
Which I do pretty much every league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done.
I have never done.
Nope.
But the season journey, honestly, is what forced me to actually get better at ARPGs. Like, I was so casual playing Diablo 3 when I started, and at some point, the existence of the season journey and the little carrot waving around at the end of it was
Mhm.
just enough for me over the course of a couple seasons to go, oh, I can do this stuff.
Well, especially because when the stuff is designed well, it's like you see, there's some that you knock out just in the course of playing anyway, and then you start looking at them and you're like, I'm so close to finishing that one. I bet I can do that.
Yeah,
And
like I'm
it
only
just-
1 or 2 steps away from this
Yeah.
one.
and it just slowly pulls you along deeper and further into the game, and yeah.
Yeah, and Last Epoch is so good at bringing in people to the genre. Like it's so clear and it's so easy to play around with and make mistakes, and like it's so good at that anyway that it's sort of a crime that it doesn't have this to pull people up to the next level.
I think on some level it may be they seem to have this reluctance to set a bar for how good a build should be in order to be considered a end game build.
Yeah,
Um,
they absolutely have that because some builds just can't even get into empowered monoliths. Like the baseline 100 corruption or whatever is too much for some builds.
Right. But they've been really hesitant to ever say what corruption level you should be running to consider a build to be successful.
Which
Like
quite
it's come up
frankly
a
is
bunch
good.
of times. It's come up a bunch of times during like the Q&A sessions, and they're like real hesitant to ever say anything. And I think by setting some of these, they would have to be essentially benchmarking how successful a build should be in order to accomplish these things.
Well, the other thing that I don't think the game had, like, and this is again back to Path of Exile is a lot older. Path of Exile already has a ton of different content that you can manipulate into the monolith, and like
Right.
that's just not there yet.
It's starting to get there. The Weaver Tree was a big part of that.
Yep.
Like every release has been great and has added more enjoyable stuff to do.
And it's already got more to do than Diablo 3 ever did.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. That was kind of the point that I realized when we were talking, I don't know, whatever day it was, that like it's already better than Diablo 3. It's just missing something to tell me, oh, hey, you should do these things, and then you can call it done. Because like we used to burn through a Diablo 3 season in a weekend, and it was one hell of a fun weekend. But like,
Yeah.
and to some
Is-
extent, Last Epoch's kind of been that for me. Like it's a couple fun weeks.
Lack of a carrot does have me checking out of Last Epoch kind of early. I don't think you ever get to Aberoth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's an MTX, there's some sort of new, like, I really want, if I thought there was anything I was looking for from Last Epoch, it's more MTXs, which feels weird to say, but it's
I would say
definitely
more
true.
varied ones.
Yeah, sure.
They got a lot of real glowy stuff right now.
They've got a lot of real glowy stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, it is kind of a joke, but like it's also kind of very serious. The MTX setup that I just keep running, which is the Beastmaster's armor and gloves and boots, plus the like stag head, is a decent reason why I keep playing this game. I just love how this character looks.
I am a bit annoyed at the low resolution of the bear head and the stag head compared to all the actual armor pieces.
I've never had a Path of Exile character that I'd liked the look of.
I mean, I have a crab on my back, and that's great, but nothing will beat Last Epoch has already given me the MTX that I will probably use forever. Because I have a type, and yeah, there's an abyssal set, and yeah, I'm good.
Have you seen the diving suit from PoE?
I mean, diving suit is okay, but it's got nothing on tentacles.
It's true. It's true. But hopefully they'll come up with some sort of a season's journey and attach like that's the reason why I started doing them in Diablo 3 was I wanted the pet that came from that. And it can be a single MTX at the end of the journey, but just put something there and we'll do it. And you'll have probably better retention.
This is also kind of getting to a common thing I run into with other games. The biggest problematic child being Warframe. I just would really like games to push me to do things sometimes, because sometimes I log in, I'm like, I have no idea what I should do.
Well, I mean, that's part of the reason why I've crafted as many legendary weapons in Guild Wars 2 as I have, is because it's a thing to do. Like, it's a journey to take. Like, and sometimes games should present you with journeys. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also okay if a game is good and ends. But like, if you want me to log back in next patch, especially if you want me to start over, I'm finding that I kind of need you to give me about that's like the reason to log in that time. Because I didn't hop into the last Epoch season because I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna play a Spellblade again. But I did that. I've done that a few times. They didn't really change anything. They haven't really changed anything for Spellblades. Like, most of the good parts are still there and the problem parts haven't been addressed. So, okay. When that happens, I'll play it and it'll be interesting. But there's nothing, to the point that has been made. Like, there's nothing making me come back and be like, yeah, I want to come back for this season.
I feel like they're giving me enough things that I'm interested in to go play with more tools. Like this coming season is going to be very rogue centric, where they're building out a new rogue ability that, they're trying to get everybody up to, I think, 5 base abilities or whatever. So like that's going to be cool. I mean, I don't know how far I'll get with it, but I'll probably play around with one. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like Forever Games need to make an effort to create things for you to do that are structured play.
Yeah.
This one is listed spicily in our topics list as the problem with Last Epoch, but it was really not that serious.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, the title was way more spicy than it actually was. It's just I kind of came to the realization like, oh yeah, that's what's really missing for me. Okay, I got good at STO and I regret it. That's also a semi-spicy topic.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so like in the last week, I've gone from I think I understand builds in this game to I can post competitive parses on ISE, which is the main place people go to test builds. ISE is the equivalent of like a WoW Mythic dungeon that you're doing solo. I mean, or in a group. It's meant for a 5-person group, but I can do it solo and put up competitive like damage number. And it has been something of a journey to get here. I think I talked about how I understand the build system last week, and I've been like, okay, so I can do all kinds of really interesting stuff with builds now that I understand what it's doing, and I can see like a decent amount of success. I'm no longer getting dumpstered in story missions. I'm now like the realistic highest end content is content that I can not just do, but go in solo and do, even though it's supposed to be group content. And like it is pretty neat dunking on top end content, but the act of play is less fun because I figured out the things that I need to do to play optimally. And like one of the biggest ones was I have 38 abilities.
Okay.
That's too many abilities.
Which is a huge number. Like it's three full bars plus some other things.
Yeah, that's EverQuest 2 levels of abilities.
Yeah. And they all make sense from a buildcraft perspective because they're all relevant from a buildcraft perspective and they're all coming from different parts of my build. But in order to use them, I had to learn the macro system. And the macro system collapses all of them into like I don't do it with one button, but I could.
But we have Rift macros here.
But yes, we have like they're like Rift tier macros. And there's definitely some strategy in how I do them, but like my top parse is just me spamming the 3 buttons and watching for specific opportunities to hit the 5 non-spammed buttons in my setup. Like there's not really a rotation, it's just slam on these buttons to make everything happen. And in specific cases, like when everything's on cooldown, I hit my reduce all my cooldowns button. If I'm out of position, I hit my teleport to a particular position button. If I'm like physically, because I'm still piloting the ship manually, but it's a relatively sedate, it's Sid Meier's Pirates in Space. Like it's not really twitchy movement. It's very slow and sedate movement. And so positioning isn't like hard. And maybe, I've heard a lot of people say that if you're flying a different style of ship, that it's much more engaging and they don't like the kind of ship that I play because they find it boring because you're not doing anything. And so maybe that's part of the problem. But like, I like the theme of what I'm doing. It's just that now I've optimized the fun out of it.
Yeah.
And like,
that is where I got to in Rift.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, I don't enjoy playing. Like, I'm now looking at other builds I can build because this one, it's like I've mastered this one. There's ways I could make number go up, but like there's no meaningful outcome for number going up other than, ooh, my parse is 10% better. I dealt, 41 million damaged instead of 40 million damage, or whatever the case may be. And like, and it's like a bummer because I've played this game on and off for like the last 15 years now, going on 15 years, and like have never been very good at it. So it's been more fun because I wasn't good at it. But it's like, oh, now all the pieces, like I actually took the time to figure out what I was doing because basically I was getting tired of being dunked on in story missions. And now the story missions are like a joke.
Is this just a thing where the difference in build is like massive like it is in PoE?
Yes. Like I have put together a tank build and it was like the thing that caused me to learn how builds work, and my tank build was much simpler and insultingly more effective in like 4 days than the science ship that I've spent the last 10 years playing. And it does play differently. Like that one doesn't play dramatically differently because it's a much simpler, it is a very simple, straightforward ship to play. But there's like a handful of build concepts that are all philosophically very different. And like one of those is it's like the pilot escort, which is it's a ship that's fragile and has a ton of like very narrow forward firepower, but makes up for that by being really, really quick and agile. So like it turns my giant slow boat ship, that's a much more interactive thing.
It does sound like this is kind of yet again a story of you found a thing that you thought sounded fun, played it for a whole long amount of time, and then it turned out the whole time it was kind of underpowered.
Well, so the interesting thing is that the build that I am running is one of the strongest in the game.
On the science ship or on the tank ship?
On the science ship.
Oh.
Like once I figured out, the problem is that science ships are much, much more complicated and much, much more dependent on specific gear and specific gear interactions. but once you get everything firing on all cylinders, they're like among the most powerful builds in the game.
Okay.
And so like and it's honestly part of the problem is like now I face roll my way through content that I like the game doesn't think I should be able to.
Oh, are you still? I thought you were. Are you still playing on your science ship or on your tank ship?
So the tank ship is what I put together to understand how to make builds, and then I took all of that knowledge back and rebuilt my science ship into something coherent. And now the science ship is obscenely powerful. Like the science ship is the thing that I've been like soloing elite tier group content with.
Got it.
And it is very funny. Like it is very satisfying to just be like, I press a bunch of buttons and everything in the system dies. But also now there's no more challenge.
That's what happens when you do war crimes.
It's true.
Yep.
No, we've added a significant number of war crimes to this ship. Yeah, like a big piece of the pie that I was missing was Terran technology. So not great from a lore perspective. It's definitely not okay. Every so often, a story mission is like shoot to disable, and I'm like, yeah, okay, we can pretend that disabling is what's happening here.
You disable them with your Genesis torpedo.
Like I'm not tremendously up on my Klingon lore, but I don't think that a Fakiri torment engine is on the up and up. It's kind of right there in the name.
Doesn't sound pleasant.
And like I don't know, maybe part of the problem is that kind of like our last thing is that there's not an event going on, so I don't have any goals anymore, and like that's why I'm like, well, I can dunk on some content, but why?
Is it a thing where? Is it also a thing where like has there not been new content released recently for it, or?
They have released some new content, but I'm not caught up to it, and so like I probably need to go back and play some story stuff. I'm just not motivated at the present moment because specific story beat I'm on is dull.
Okay, so I looked this thing up, and I just want to be clear here. Did you go to literal Klingon hell to get this thing?
Yeah, I did actually.
Good lord.
Yeah, it's it's a mission.
Well, okay then.
Yeah, no,
This game's weird, yo.
It's there's some wild stuff in this game. I mean, wild to the point where it's been surprising to me that they have used the designs for the shows. Like I would have thought that they maybe want to stay a little far from that, but no. Klingon Hell was pretty cool, honestly. Like as that sort of thing goes.
I mean, from what little we've seen related to it, it seems pretty metal.
Yeah, it was extremely metal. That's 100% true. It is sort of funny. Like the builds are sort of funny because like there's this horrific war crimes science ship that I have, and the tank ship is like, I don't know, we put a bunch of phasers on it. It's very much simpler conceptually. What if we shot beams at everything?
Put a beam on it.
Yeah, if you liked that beam, put another beam on it. But yeah, I think the events are definitely a big piece of it, and the fact that there isn't a terribly interesting one. Like I finished the one that's currently going on, and like the big one hasn't started up again, and that's probably contributing because the events are basically the way to play this game without having to spend horrific amounts of money because they give away if you do the events you get MTX stuff for often very good MTX stuff, and that's a fun goal, or at least a goal.
I think the lesson we've learned over several discussions tonight is that fashion is the true end game.
Always
It's
has been.
true. Yeah.
This is not a new lesson.
I'm way more likely to do a thing if there's a cool transmog at the end of it.
Yep.
See the amount of hours I spent farming the pre-Wrath of the Lich King event where you got the weird-ass blue and brown Judgment Paladin set.
Oh, yeah. Man, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For farming BC era heroics to get recolors of the T1 sets.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmetics matter, yo.
I don't need to talk about the fact that I farmed up a pristine Hide of the Beast in vanilla just so I would match.
Hey Kodra, how's your YOLO build going?
It's going pretty well. So what happened is Holy Strike got announced, and I was like, I think I want to try that. So I am trying that. It is a melee strike skill. It spawns minions when you hit. I've said before, I like to be hitting things. I like to have minions. This serves both of those purposes. And then I also have like some other incidental minions because I'm playing a guardian. And so I've been doing, but like, I don't know. I have played a bit of PoE. I don't feel like I am the most learned at it, but I feel like I'm starting to get my feet under me. So I was like, yeah, let's try doing a day one. I don't actually know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put this build together based on my understanding of what's going on, and maybe ask Bell a few questions about how he doesn't die. And it seems to be going well. Like, I am pretty survivable up through T5 maps. I haven't really had a huge problem. I'm in Delve at like level 80 or 90 depth, and I'm pretty okay with that. And I'm doing a decent amount of damage. But I'm always looking for how can I scale? How can I scale my defenses? How can I scale my offenses? And so I'm doing a lot of experimentation, which leads me to like poring over the support skills and like going into the PoE wiki a lot. And one of the things I saw was, hey, there's this gem that says minions take damage, but they pulse a AoE that deals at level 20 2,000 fire damage per second. I'm like, whoa! I have 4 minions just for my main skill, and then I also have Living Lightning, which gives me 8 more minions, also on this link. I could like have
Infernal Army support?
Yeah, Infernal Army support. I could have all of these minions dealing all of this Infernal Army damage. And here's the question for people who are not Ashgar. Can you tell what the problem with this plan is?
I mean, it's hard to scale burning damage, and also all your minions are going to die?
None of my minions are going to die. They're all undamageable.
Don't know then.
Yup. So the great joy is what this is actually doing is applying the burning debuff. It doesn't say it on the skill it's doing that, but it's applying the burning debuff, which means only one instance of it can be applied to an enemy. Is that how you read that skill?
No, that's not how I read that skill at all. I didn't think it was a single instance for all of your minions. I thought it was once per minion.
All of your minions are applying it, but they keep overriding each other. Only the strongest sticks.
That is a useless ability.
This would be super meta on builds that have like a million minions, especially short-lived ones like SRS, if it didn't work this way. Unfortunately.
That's a fun gotcha.
Boy, PoE is full of them.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know burning damage itself is hard to scale. Like, that was, I thought, what was going to be the gotcha. That is a different gotcha.
So anyways, like, it is funny. I am doing a whole lot of learning as I am going on this path, but it is fraught. I really still do not recommend doing this unless you are willing to, like, throw a whole bunch of stuff away. Anyways, I have discovered what I think is a new little bit of tech, which I think is neat. I really want to get Feeding Frenzy, but I don't want it to be on my main link because I want my main link to mostly be for damage. So what I had been doing was putting it on a couple of support minions, the Holy Relic and the Carrion Golem, because I want a Golem buff, and I can use those minions. I don't really care about their damage, so they can provide me with some buffs in the form of Feeding Frenzy. The problem is both Holy Symbols and Golems, no matter what type, are way too squishy to put something that makes them aggressive.
Well, Holy Symbols don't attack regardless, so...
They attack when I attack.
Do they still move towards things if you have a feeding frenzy on them?
I believe so.
That's kind of annoying.
Anyways, they die a lot, is what I'm trying to get at. But I figured it out. I knew there was a way. I really wanted to figure out how I could incorporate Orb of Storms into this build. And Orb of Storms basically says, put down an orb, and if you're standing near it and you use a lightning skill, it's going to shock someone. And so what I've done is I put Orb of Storm, Living Lightning, and Feeding Frenzy support.
Oh, that's nonsense.
So my Orb of Storm spawns Living Lightning minions, and those Living Lightning minions give me the Feeding Frenzy buff.
Living Lightning minions are invulnerable, so they don't have that problem.
But, or more importantly, they're also short-lived, but they respawn every time I hit something with Orb of Storms. And this little bit of tech, which I also paired once again with, this time I'm like, oh, whatever, I will put Infernal Army on that because I don't really care. And sure, any amount of damage is probably good. But that 4-link is a pretty reasonable support utility ability. And I do like that PoE still seems to have a whole bunch of ways for you to like mash things together in a way that finally works. Like this is a 4-link I'm very proud of because I don't think I've seen anyone else use it. And maybe I'll find out there's a reason it's bad, but at this point, I'm pretty happy that I found something.
I was actually going to suggest overcharge support on that link.
Overcharge? What's that do?
It makes sure you get a maxed out shock, pretty much.
Ooh, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, I am probably, like, I am generating shocks because this is a crit build.
Fair.
Like, it turns out, this is also another interesting thing. The weapon I'm using on this build is a staff. And I think it's cool that this game is, like, one of the few games where melee staff is totally a thing.
A staff is kind of the melee weapon you want to use if you get a choice of two-handed melee weapons. Because they have the highest crit, and they let you block.
Yeah, you can have reasonable defenses as a staff wielder, whereas you can't really as a sword or an axe user. And I don't know that anyone actually uses hammers, do they?
Not that I know of, because almost every skill that would use them can use a staff.
I was about to say, Holy Strike can use two-handed maces, or it can use a staff.
Whereas swords and axes are specifically called for other reasons. You can't use Rage Vortex with a staff. You can't use most slams with a sword. So that build kind of lands on an axe for me.
Yeah, everything that you would play with a hammer, most people play with an axe or a staff.
Hammers do have some niche uses. Frozen Sweep is the first one that comes to mind to me. That's an ability that you just want it to hit as hard as possible. Nothing else really matters there. And if you want as hard as possible, and you don't care about crits, you do want a hammer. You actually want a specific hammer, but that's a separate thing. That's a unique, it's hard to get.
I do think a lot of what I've been doing as I have been playing this is like, who else is using Holy Strike on PoE Ninja? See if I can figure out why they're doing the things they're doing. There's a real downside to this, though, because even on the ladder, it feels like I'm looking at builds and I'm like, I don't think you know what you're doing here. Like, I see some things that just, like, flatly don't make sense to me.
They might make sense for weird reasons, or they might actually not make sense, as Holy Strike is a new skill and people haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
It's a fun game of, is this person a genius or have no idea what they're doing?
I mean, I'll be honest, like a lot of the builds that I've played as second builds of League are because I wanted to use an ability and then I went out onto PoE Ninja and tried to figure out what people were doing with that ability.
I've homebrewed builds twice in PoE, and both times they've been abject failures, and I've been like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. And then when I look it up, it's like, oh, if you sink unbelievable amounts of currency in it, it's like top tier. Cool.
Yeah, there is some of that. I try not to play builds like that.
So I was just like, I intuited my
yeah.
way into like the most expensive builds in the game.
Yeah, no, you
absolutely.
played some stat stackers, realistically.
When I was getting back into the game, I want to say this was Calandra League. So the first league I was around for the start of, I followed a guide from the forums.
Ooh.
This guide was for Whispering Ice, a specific unique weapon that is pretty easy to get. Like, it's got a div card, but also nobody really wants it unless they're playing the specific build. So not very hard to get. However, it's an int stacker. I didn't know this going in. Int stacking items are some of the most expensive items in the game. Sadly, they are competed with by all people stacking other stats.
I mean, probably the cheapest stat stacker is strength stacking, or at least you can do a semi-budget strength stacker.
I have been looking. I mostly don't have too many expensive items, other than some some items that are obviously going to be in late game upgrades, like greater multi-striking.
They did add a bunch of... They completely removed this league the concept of awakened support gems. I consider this a net positive in every way. Awakened support gems were just kind of a large expense on builds for no real reason.
Well, and more than that is they all came from exactly the same encounter.
Yes, they all came from busting up the Maven or other Maven-influenced things. But they replaced those with additional exceptional support gems, some of which are pretty similar in concept, just gonna say it. There was no Awakened Multi-Strike, but now there's Greater Multi-Strike. I do think there's also Greater Spell Echo, which was definitely the one most people would have missed the most if it went away completely.
Yes, there's also Greater Spell Echo. It's also super expensive.
Not Spell Echo. It's actually Awakened Spell Cascade was the one that had very weird behavior. And that one I think they didn't replace.
A lot of the things that were arms that you could graft onto your body last league are now exceptional supports. And one of those I'm considering trying to figure out how to make my shield charge a 4-link. Because Call the Pyre was really cool because it allowed me an easy way of applying Covered in Ash, which is real good for a fire damage over time build. But also the minion support that was every time you use your offering, you get to summon a bunch of breach mobs. That was kind of fun. And it's also now an exceptional support.
There's a lot of interesting exceptional supports. I saw one that increases the number of max minions you can have, which I was definitely thinking about. Convocation or whatever. Congregation.
Every Spectre build in the game is thinking about that one too, so it's probably going to be crazy expensive.
How many Spectres can you normally have?
I want to say with tree support and whatever item gives you 5.
Okay, then it would matter because it's plus 39%. I want to say.
Yeah, they're 5 div, which is not unattainable, but not cheap either.
It is cheaper than Greater Multi-Strike.
Sure is. But yeah, I'm level 87 and I am doing pretty well on this build. And now I'm thinking my next project is going to be another kind of, I don't know if this build has a build guide anywhere. I could probably look for one, but I kind of want to see how an elementalist running Absolution of Inspiring looks. Because I'm really in on a minion kick that has a primary spell cast. And also 300% added minion damage to the spell's damage seems good. It's so hard because I'm having a lot of fun finally feeling like I can get to the point where I can start to mess around with builds and have a reasonable idea of how to make one perform. With a lot of help from both Ash and Bell and Ace. But yeah, it takes a lot to get to this point.
Yeah, it was really I don't remember what league it was that I felt like I could start to homebrew builds, but when you get there, it feels like magic.
I will say this is my first league playing since they have added basically the gold respecs and the currency vendor and all that other stuff. It has gotten dramatically easier to undo points in your build.
It is way better to this game is way better at letting you mess around with stuff. Yes.
Well, and little things like gambling for gear too makes it so much easier to get stuff in the campaign.
Just have gear while leveling.
Right.
What a novel concept.
It's if you are leveling through the campaign, there is no reason to hold on to gold. You will not magically need it all later. Like, just spend it. Like, it comes pretty easy. You will go through so much in doing other things in the game, but they will keep giving you more ways to farm it.
And the gambling is actually useful.
You get really good items, and like, you kind of like, eventually you get to a point where you can get like 5 links pretty easy through gambling. And
So, while it is possible to roll magic items through gambling, and that does kind of suck, the rares I've gotten through gambling seem to be pretty good. Like, I don't know if they specifically use well rolled for those or not.
I think they do. Yeah, because they seem to have good life and good resists on them most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like really well leveling. That's what you need. Like, that's it. Some resists and some life.
I mean, if you get some offense, that's all the better, but
I mean, shipment gear was that way too, but the shipment gear unfortunately doesn't unlock until you're already done through the campaign now. So getting like decent bases and stuff off shipments is less of a thing unless you're doing crafting projects.
I have started thinking about the prospect of recombinating, and boy, that's a daunting one because they make that stuff expensive. Like from just a pure dust perspective.
I think like the most efficient recombination path is still like alt spam to get a couple of magic items and then mashing them together to begin a craft.
Oh, interesting. Using the unstable or the stable?
Unstable.
Okay.
Stable is basically the PoE version or PoE 2 version, and nobody seems to like it.
Well, you just have like if you're trying to make a good item, you have like I was looking at making a decent item, and it's like you have a 0.07% chance of not destroying this item.
Right. Whereas if you use the unstable, you usually get to keep one of your inputs. So you're not starting back over at square one, especially if you're doing the magic to magic option. I mean, and that's mostly useful when you need like, I need an item with these 2 very rare rolls on it. And then the rest of it can be negotiable, or you can do 3 crafted mods and finish it out that way.
And slam 2 exalts into it.
Yeah. So like if you need like for example, you need a +1 all skills +1 specific kind of skill amulet. If you create a magic of each of those, there's a pretty reasonable chance that you can get both of those on the same item.
I did manage to get a 9% reservation, 7% all res, +3 Holy Strike replica Dragonfling's flight, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, you got your necklace locked down then.
I got my necklace locked down. I do need to figure out how to get a +2 minions helm, and those are currently quite expensive.
There were several ways to do that. I have no idea how many of them still apply.
Probably fossil crafting.
It used to be guaranteed on fossils, or like a coin flip at worst.
I believe that I believe when I was looking at it, the most optimal way to fossil craft it was dense bound.
I would be shocked if Gazzy doesn't have a guide on how to craft this thing.
But it does seem a pain because, at least at last check, the cheapest item at all that had this was like 2 divs.
I think that's because people were just rolling them. Does this sort of imply you could roll them yourself and maybe make a profit?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's one of the outcomes of one of the corrupted essences. I don't remember what all the helm options are there. Anyway.
Yeah. Probably gone on long enough.
Yep. Any short topics anybody has?
I am dying for this Project Shadowglass game. Look it up. It looks great. It's got the weirdest retro art style I've seen yet, I think.
Whoa.
I also appreciate that just from the name, I can tell that they're paying homage to the inspiration.
Yep, they know what they did.
They know what they did. It does look neat.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.